Shalom, everybody. This is your brother and deacon for the day, Deacon Mike Joseph, coming out of King James Bible University. Before we get started, I'd like to let everyone know King James Bible University has no affiliations with any Christian camps, Christian churches, or Christian doctrines. We do not. We also have no affiliations with any Israelite camps, Israelite doctrines, black black power movements. We use the Sovereign 1611 King James Bible with the Apocrypha. Thank you. All right. So, this teaching is called Do I Have Ears? This teaching is a self-reflection teaching. Especially, this is going to be for me. Hopefully everyone could look in the mirror and see if they're going to pull out these attributes that I've pulled out of myself. Hopefully you don't, but if you do, you gotta fix them. I clearly see that I have physical ears, but how well do I use them? Because the ears are used to hear people speak, to hear someone's spirit, the sound that comes from their mouth. I am here to tell you, I rarely do. It's like I'm listening, but I'm not listening. This, I can tell you, has been detrimental to my spiritual life and daily life. Reason being, I end up making stupid decisions, often not hearing what I'm supposed to hear properly. And we're going to start here in Ezekiel 12, verse 2. Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, which have eyes to see and see not. They have ears to hear and hear not, for they are a rebellious house. What does this look like? I can clearly show. Has someone ever been speaking to you and what they say goes in one ear and out the other? Not because it's vain talk, but for whatever reason, your mind is somewhere else. Instead of it going in your mind for you to ponder on it, it just goes in and out. What this shows me is a lack of respect for the one speaking. It shows me a fakeness from the person listening. It's a fakeness. Instead of saying, let's have this convo later, or just give me a moment to collect yourself or collect myself, someone just sits there and pretends to listen. Just pretending. And all you hear is blah, 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 blah. And then you smile and keep smiling and just say, okay, cool, okay. Say words like that. This is a forgetfulness that happens during the conversation. It is very disrespectful. All right. Let's go here. Jeremiah 6, verse 17. Also, I set watchmen over you, saying, Hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, We will not hearken. The trumpet is loud and sent to give warning. But when my ears don't work, all I hear is a noise, not a warning. This is the ultimate disrespect. And it ultimately brings me to see my foolish, ignorant way. Because if you go here to Malachi 1, verse 6, it reads, A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? If I be a master, where is my fear? Where is my desire? Saith the Spirit of God of hosts unto you, O priests, that despise my name, his way. And ye say, Wherein have we despised thy name? All right. As a stiff-necked child, my neck is on the worldly things and the desires of this world. So, when I hear the word from the Spirit of God, I'm too worried about other things going on in this world. So whatever he's saying, letting me know, I'm over here thinking about what's going on there and not what I'm being told, not the instructions. All right. This is why. And I'm going to show you. And wisdom in the Apocrypha, we're going to go to Wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 9. Going to be verse 15. It reads, For the corruptible body presses down the soul, and the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth on many things. So, instead of my mind being on my Father, my mind is being weighed down by all the thoughts in my head. Right? So, which keeps me from hearing. All right? As I'm spoken to, my mind is Google Gaga land. And this is very disturbing. Just self-reflecting now and looking at it is something that's very disturbing to me. All right. This has gotten me in so much trouble. Whether in trouble with the Father or at my job, with my family, and relationships, and even school. And this can happen even when reading the word. This can happen when reading the word. When I read something not understanding what I read, but I just shrug it off, but continue to keep reading. Did my eyes really see? Did my ears really hear? No, I took the word for naught. And again, this is what it's showing right here. Proverbs 1, verse 25, and it reads, "But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof." So all these instructions, spoken and written, I took it for nothing, right? I had no regard for it because my mind is on the worldly things. All right. Let's go to Exodus 9, verse 21. And it reads, oops. It says, "And he that regarded not the word of the Lord left his servants and his cattle in the field. And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch forth thy hand towards heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man, upon beast, and upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt." And what happened? And Moses stretched forth his rod towards heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire ran along upon the ground. The Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. And the hail smote through all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail smote every herb of the field, and brake every tree of the field. So we could see. So this hail came down, right? But the thing is, everyone here had a chance to escape it, because it says, in Exodus 9:21, and you can go read it, and you see everyone was warned. All the people were warned that there would be some problems coming down. But guess what? And he that regarded not the word of the Lord, in verse 21, left his servants and his cattle in the field. So the servants and his cattle, you can look at the servants, showed as the labors, and the cattle as these offerings. So all the labor they worked and all the offerings they had, they were destroyed by the hail, because they regarded not. They heard it, but they didn't hear it. They didn't care. Their mind was on something else. But if you look here, in verse 20. Exodus 9 verse 20 says, he that feared the word of the Lord. So they read it, they heard it, and they understood it. Among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. But here, he that regarded not the word of the Spirit of God left his servants and his cattle in the field. So, these servants, they was destroyed. These laborers, they were destroyed. Because the the servant, they didn't hear, they didn't listen, they didn't have no regard for it. So, when I don't regard nor consider, I leave these thoughts of mine in confusion, and what happens is the labor and offerings I do is of confusion. Meaning, if I don't regard and listen closely, pay attention with an attentive ear, then what I was told becomes as a puzzle that I have no idea how to solve. You know what this makes me? And if this is you, and what this makes you also is a swine. It's like this, Proverbs 11, verse 22, and it reads, as a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion. The information and knowledge spoken to me is the jewel, but without prudence and wisdom, so then I'm being a swine. I'm not taking heed, chewing the cud, then I become swine. And this is what happens. In Hebrews, where you at, Hebrews? Hebrews 5, verse 12, it reads, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not strong meat. I should have been a teacher a long time ago if my ears weren't so dull as the slothful ear. Because ye have need that one teach you, and the key word is again. So a lot of us have heard these things before. And if you have those ears that don't hear, you got to be taught the first principles again, which is, again, disrespectful. All right. And we're going to go to verse 11. Of whom we have many things to say and hard to be uttered, seeing ye are dull of hearing. So, as the wise man that's speaking with the fool, giving him sound instruction, but the fool has ears, but he hears not. As the words, he cannot discern them, so he pretends to understand and goes about his way and day to crash and burn in the ignorance of his pride. We're going to go 1 Corinthians 7. Now let's read verse 35. And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, that ye may attend upon the Lord without distraction. This is the difference between the passive and the active listener. The passive ones are distracted of the world and other things in the world, while active seek to comprehend the words spoken. In my daily life, I get in so much issues with this passive hearing. So I'll give you guys an example. My wife may tell me to go to the store, get some eggs, chicken, turkey bacon, and juice. What I heard was eggs and turkey bacon. The other two went out of my mind. What this does is it causes strife and anger, and you can imagine the hell that breaks loose in my house when this happens. What that tells me and makes me wonder is about the sound mind. How did I not hear the two? How did I forget the two, the others? Is my mind sound? But I say nay, because I should have heard all of it. Should have remembered all of it. All right. And we're going to go to Job. (37) verse 2. It says, hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. And we're going to go to Proverbs. (14) verse 30. And it reads, a sound heart is the life of the flesh, but, however, envy, the rottenness of the bones. All right. The sound from his mouth. So in Job 37:2, we should hear the noise of his voice and the sound that goes out of his mouth. Speaking about the Most High, we should hear that sound, and we should be attentive to it, right? That sound from his mouth should be the sound in my heart. It is the frequency of peace. And I should be able to pay attention diligently with this, because it will give me a sound heart. Because a sound heart is the life of the flesh. All right. Now go to John. (14) verse 27. And it reads, peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Again, that sound heart You get peace from the word. Okay? Peace is contrary to the let me change it. A double mind is contrary to peace, because peace is stable, but the double mind, and go to James 1:8, and it reads, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So, just told you about the story where I had to go get all these things. And I'm saying all these things, there was only 4 things, but I remember 2. What was in my head at the time? You think about it, like, it was double-mindedness, not paying attention, being forgetful. All right. So, with this, I want you guys, we're going to look at the elephant. All right. With the elephant, one of their key features is their ears. Their big flappy ears, right? They use their ears as fans to keep them cool. And their ears are one of the best ears you can have, right? And let's look at this real quick. We're going to look some fact about the elephant. Okay, so elephants, the largest land animals on Earth, boast distinctive physical features, including their large ears. These ears are not only prominent, but function as high-efficient sound detectors. The pinnae, the visible part of the ear, can cover a large area, helping elephants capture distant vibrations and low-frequency sounds that often go unnoticed by other creatures. Elephants are capable of hearing low-frequency sounds known as infrasounds, which range from 1 Hz to 20 Hz. These sounds travel long distances due to their ability to bypass physical obstructions and remain unaffected by atmospheric conditions, making elephants exceptionally attuned to far-off sounds over 100 miles away. All right. So, what I've gotten from the elephant, and you'll see where we're going with this. The hearing impaired. So the hearing impaired, to see this, well, okay, to see this, we'll look at to see this, we will look at an elephant. The elephant has the biggest ears on the earth, almost about 7 feet. The elephants have one of the best hearings on the planet. They can hear low frequencies and up to 100 miles away. The reason I brought the elephant up is because the elephant's memory, not necessarily just the ears, but its memory, is said to be one of the best in the world. You know, when people say, you have the memory of an elephant, you remember like an elephant. And this is why. Hold on. Let me go here. Do elephants really never forget? Let's look at this. So elephants have big brains, by the way. All right. So they are biologically set up for long-term memory. It's not just about remembering what happened last week. It's about remembering who, where, when, and how over decades. That's a big part of what helps them survive in the wild. One of the most well-documented elephant memory feats is their ability to recognize and remember other elephants even after long periods apart. Studies show that they can identify calls of family members they haven't seen for over a decade. And what this does, this ability helps them form and maintain complex social bonds in large herds where matriarchs lead with knowledge passed down across generations, remembering who's a friend and who's not. Can mean the difference between peace and conflict. They never forget a bad experience. So if you are one that went to the zoo and threw some at an elephant, and that elephant gets free, and you go walking outside and he sees you, it's up. Meaning he gonna come get you. So the reason, you'll see the reason I'm matching these ears with this memory, because it's a cool thing that I learned. All right, and let's go to Marc. Let's go to Marc. One second. Marc 8, verse 18, and it reads, again, having eyes, see ye not? That's a question. And having ears, hear ye not? And do ye not remember? So you got this eye, you got this ears, but you don't remember. All right? Now, let's look at something. We're going to look at something. And we're going to look some facts about hearing loss. Hearing loss and dementia, the connection. All right. And it reads, hearing loss in the brain. If you having hearing loss, you have a greater chance of developing dementia, according to a 2020 Lancet Commission report that lists hearing loss as one of the top risk factors for dementia. Now, and let's look at Alzheimer's. Hearing loss may worsen cognitive decline. Hearing loss may worsen cognitive decline in older adults and increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. Treatments like hearing aids and assistive listening devices can help slow the decline. So, all right. Okay. Hold on. So let's look at what cognitive means. Cognitive, relating to the process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought. So, not being able to hear will cause dementia. It'll be a greater risk for you to get dementia, meaning you forgetting. Dementia is a general term that describes a group of symptoms affecting your memory, thinking, and social abilities, which interfere with daily life. It is not a specific disease, but can be caused by various conditions, with Alzheimer's diseases being the most common type. Symptoms may include memory loss, difficulty reasoning, and changes in personality and behavior. Dementia is not a normal part of aging, and it could significantly impact a person's ability to perform every day. So, remember, we gotta look at the elephant one more time. This is crazy. So, elephants have big ears. They listen. And hearing, one second. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I took a quick break. So, hearing loss. So, if you have hearing loss, you have a greater chance of developing dementia. So, hearing loss can make the brain work harder, forcing it to strain to hear and to fill in gaps. So, basically, you're just doing guesswork when you don't listen. Just like what I just said about when I with my wife. So over here, this hearing, if we're not hearing what he's trying to instruct us, our brain will rot. Basically, what we're doing, we rotting out our spirit. And you know, we gotta go to Deuteronomy 28. It's a curse. 28, verse 28. And the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. As a dementia patient, don't know what's going on. Brain is all messed up. Alright? So if we have ears, we must use them. Because the ears function with the mind. As we hear, man, let me see. I know. How should I say this? Okay. I can't find it. Let's see if I find it this way. Well, hopefully I'll find it before the end of the teaching. Basically, he said, as he hear, so he teaches. I will find it before the end of the teaching. But, so we need to hear that we may remember, so we don't forget what's going on. All right. Now we're going to go to Deuteronomy 4. Now it reads, Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them that you may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you. All right. Now we're going to skip to Deuteronomy 4:6. And it reads, Keep therefore and do them. So you got to keep them in your mind, and you got to do them. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So they're going to hear it and they're going to see it, saying we are a great nation and a wise and understanding people. Now we're going to skip to verse 9. And it says, Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently. So this diligent and hearkening and diligently, lest thou forget, this dementia, the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart, this Alzheimer's, from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them to thy sons and thy sons' sons. So we have to hearken and listen diligently. When we hear it, God lay it to our heart, lay it to our mind. All right. All right. So hearing is an aspect to remembering. However, there's a difference between the passive hearer and the active listener. The hearkener, the hearkener, the hearkener and the one that hearkens, just like the one that takes it to heart, but the passive will not take it to heart. All right, so we're going to go to John 15, and it reads, Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. So the Father told him, and he told us. But did and are we hearing and hearkening and listening diligently? That's the question. And look at who listened and who hearkened, and see what he was called. So let's go to James 2, verse 3. It says, And ye have I'm tripping. James 2, verse 23. And it says, And the scripture was fulfilled, which said, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God. So Abraham was a friend of God because he was because Abraham believed God. So God told him something, he believed it, and he listened to it. And if you want to see it real quick, Genesis 12. Let's see. Now the Lord, Genesis 12, verse 1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curses thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Abraham heard it. So what did he do? So Abraham departed, and the Lord has, as the Lord had spoken unto him. So he heard it. And Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. He was 75, and he heard it. So he didn't have no dimension. All right. So Abraham was a friend. The reason this teaching came about, I'm going to tell you. So I was on the phone with a brother, and I'm going to give you the scenario. Ring, 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 ring. Yo, what's up, bro? This is me. How you doing, bro? He like, I'm doing bad. How you doing? My response was, oh man, that's good. I'm doing all right myself. Now, he paused for a second and said, and he started laughing. So I'm like, bro, what you laughing about? He's like, bro, you didn't hear what I said, did you? I said, I thought you said you're doing good. Nah, he said, bro, I said I'm doing bad. I'm like, oh. So I didn't listen at all. We was laughing for like 5 minutes straight. But the point is, I didn't listen to what he was saying. I already got it in my head. So that is sin upon me, because that's how someone can get caught up in that small amount of time because you wasn't listening. And now, you could just ask yourself, was I really being a friend at that time? How can you be a friend? You're not hearing what your friend is saying. That don't make sense. But let's read this last verse. And you guys can self-reflect on this, because there'll be a part 2 on this, because it gets to the children next. So let's go to the Apocrypha. Go to Ecclesiasticus. (37) verse 6, it reads, come on now. All right, Ecclesiasticus 37 verse 6, it reads, forget not thy friend and thy mind, and be not unmindful of him and thy riches. So I was being unmindful, didn't think about what he was saying. If he was serious and he would have said, oh, I'm doing bad, and I would have said, that's good. At that moment, if he was being serious, what would he have thought about me? That would have made all the conversation we ever had. Was he truly listening to what I was saying? That's what would run in my head. So all this to say, let's not be unmindful. Let's diligently hear as the elephant hears. So that's the aspect of being a true friend, and being a friend to your brothers and sisters here, and being a friend to the Most High. And that is what we are trying to be, as Abraham was, and as Moses was. So let's be a friend to the Most High, and let's listen diligently and not take his words for naught. All right. Hopefully somebody got something. I hope it wasn't jumbled and garbled up. Just leave a comment and say if you have had to deal with this before. And I know we do it with our kids and all that. And I be doing that to my kids so much, where they talking and I'm zoned out. But I say, everybody, shalom. Hope y'all have a good day.